Dear beloved Creator of all that is, we thank you. Thank you for bringing us together to share our hearts, our learning, our goals of service and change for the good. Thank you. It is in strength and cooperation that we proceed, and with your divine guidance and protection. We pray that we succeed in all that we do together. Let us never forget you as our source who gives us free will, but intends that we use it wisely. And so we shall, to the best of our ability, steer this growing gathering of hearts and minds to do what is best for all others in the process of fulfilling our singular duty. We humbly pray then that you use us in your service, and so it is.
Hello, my name is Ron Vroman. I'm with the Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly. I'm here today with Bill. Introduce yourself, William.
Al, I'm here with the Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly. I'm here in the Portland, Oregon area.
What we're going to be talking about today is grand jury. And that has been something that came over from England to the United States when it was just colonies. Whoever is in charge detests and hates grand juries. The people bringing forth something that they want attended to may not be what the people in charge want attended to. And in reading, here's the book. Is that pretty clear there? Yeah, that's clear.
Yep.
That's one of the publications that I'm reading about this. What you have to remember is on Oregon, all power is inherent in the people. So whatever the hell we do is correct as long as we do it properly to the best of our ability and without any malice. We're trying to do our best and we're doing our best. So this is basically what's going on. This book and all of them that I found, they talk about common law grand jury. Well, what I found is first you have to have a court. Then the court has to decide that it needs a grand jury, or the people decide they need a grand jury and they tell the court. But the grand jury is actually a court's grand jury, and as our court, Civilian Court of Record, is the People's Court on Oregon. It's Oregonians' grand jury, and it comes through our Civilian Court of Record to the best of our ability. So we formed a Civilian Court of Record, which implemented Ex parte Milligan, which nullified Lieber Code martial law that has been in effect in one form or another since 1861. So we have eliminated martial law in Oregon, and we have a civilian court. The civilian court created a grand jury. The grand jury has been called, and we have a sufficient enough base in our jury pool to call a grand jury and expect to get grand jury members show up to the call. When you put out the call, not everybody that is on the list answers the call. A long time ago in England, in the era of 1215, the first grand jury was 25 barons against the king. We don't have barons and we don't have kings, so all of that information from the Magna Carta is just history. What we have is Oregon, one of the several states that became a state in 1859. We have the people on Oregon, which are represented by the Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly, And we formed an assembly under Article 1, Section 1 of the Oregon Constitution. Our assembly is the people of Oregon. Not all of them, but we don't have to have all of them. We have a Republican form of government, and that only needs the people that show up to be Oregonians. It doesn't have to be a majority. We have a republic. So we have a group, and however big or however small that group is, that is Article 1, Section 1 of the Oregon Constitution. And we supplied that information to the feds at several different levels, the state of Oregon at several different levels, and the cities and counties at several different levels, the National Guard and the Marine Corps. They all know. They all were notified. They all acquiesced to the notification without rebuttal, and they had many opportunities to do it. Along the way, we told them that we were not getting what we were guaranteed. In the United States of America's Constitution, circa 1819 through 1860, 1861, we are guaranteed, as is every one of the several states, a constitutional Republican form of government. Oregon flipped that into an incorporated subdivision of the United States, Inc., and we're changing that. One of the ways that you change things is lawfully, and that's the way we chose to go. We formed a court. The court called a grand jury. The grand jury has been assembled. The grand jury is hearing the evidence against Kate Brown, Suzanne Bonamici, Ron Wyden, and Jeff Merkley. Those are just the four we chose at this time to bring charges or a claim against. There's a whole lot more that we could go after. We haven't gone after the others, just those four. Those four have broken their oath, among many other things. They have no honor, and they can't hold a position of trust. That's a fact. It's in the public domain. Every place you go and look, all you got to do is type in those four names and voted against the Second Amendment or voted for masks or did any one of the other things that infringes upon our unalienable rights. And when they do that, they break their oath. You break your oath, you have no honor. You can't hold a position of trust. So we're presenting that information, that evidence, along with any other evidence that wants to come forth. Today, we had a meeting of the grand jury, and several people brought forth a lot of information other than what is on the claims, charges, indictment that we've made that those four have acquiesced to. We weren't looking to provide all of the charges and claims against those people. We're just looking for enough. It only takes one claim that is proven at the grand jury with sufficient probable cause that there's enough information that this appears to be true, doesn't have to be 100%, to pass this on as a presentment to the DAs, the Attorney General of Oregon, and maybe someday the feds, but right now the JAG and the Provost Marshal of the Oregon National Guard. And then a true bill to our Article 3, Amendment 7, Court of Record, which will try them. When you call the grand jury from the jury pool, and we have a large enough jury pool, that you call, and when they show up, we only need 13 to show up. It'd be nice if 20 showed up. It'd be nice if everybody that was called showed up. But that doesn't always happen. This book and every other book you have regarding grand juries will tell you the same thing. Several years ago, I went to the Oregon statutes, the revised statutes on how do you operate and how does a grand jury function. And I read all of it. Then I called up Richard Molmer. I think that's it. Richard Molmer. He's the court administrator for Washington County. I also called up Kingsley Click. She's the state court administrator. She's changed now. There's somebody else in there. I called and raised so much hell with Richard Molmer in Washington County. He blocked me on his email and won't take my telephone calls. But the reality of the situation is we can call a grand jury. It says so, but they won't do it. The only one that the court administrator will accept the grand jury from is the district attorney. Well, the district attorney doesn't want to find what we want him to find, so he won't look. So it's prosecutorial discretion starting at the grand jury level. They won't let the people on Oregon in Washington County, where I tried, have a grand jury. Therefore, we're doing it ourselves. In every document we've provided to the feds, the state, the county, we tell them what governing law is and we specify it and we tell them that we're not getting it and we must do it ourselves. And they acquiesce to that. If I present to the corporate governance at whatever level the statement of what we have found, and we're going to do this, and you have this many times to acquiesce, or it will, no, this many times to rebut, or you will acquiesce and default to it. And they did multiple times. So they've all heard it, they all know it, we have it all in irrefutable evidence. We must do it ourselves. So the methodology in law, which we choose to follow, there's other ways to do it, and we choose not to use those. But in law, and law in the United States of America's Constitution, circa 1819 through 1860, is common law. That's what law is. So it's not what we've been fed since 1946 and 1861 and 1910. Law is justice, and that comes from the people. If you look at how a court of record and a jury of peers functions, a judge is not even allowed in the same room with the jury. Judges don't run this, the jury runs it. The jury is the court. We are the court, but we abdicated our responsibilities years ago. The corporate governance made it so easy for us. We'll take care of everything. Don't you worry. You just do as you're told. Mind us. Everything will be just fine, and we will give you slavery. And they have. It has been a pretty benevolent form of slavery. I'm really smart. The Navy tested me. I am smart, no doubt about it. They had me fooled until I was 75 in 2014. Can you believe that? I couldn't believe it. I found this rabbit hole and I went, oh God, I can't believe it. And the rabbit hole gets deeper and deeper. And Charlie today said, it's not a rabbit hole. This whole thing is the rabbit hole. And she's right. So on Oregon, we're doing this. Anybody that sees this, please contact us. Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly. We have a web address, orsja.org. We're on YouTube. My name is Ron Vroman, and I'm at Ron Vroman 38. No, yeah, Ron Vroman 38 at gmail.com. You can get me there. If you do, I'll give you my phone number. We'll talk. We're on Skype. We'll accept anybody that wants to call us. We think we're being infiltrated by agent provocateurs. People are showing up that don't ring quite right, and we invite them in. And if they're an Oregonian, not a U.S. citizen, and they want to join us, and they have another agenda besides returning Oregon to a constitutional Republican form of government, well, we want to know it. And we want them to be in with us and explain their point of view. We don't want any enemies out there. We've got more than enough. The thin blue line in the form of sheriffs and police departments does not want to have to put up with Oregonians that know what their rights are and are doing their best to enforce their rights, to actually take charge. And it's not just Article 1, Section 1, a bunch of words. It's all power is inherent in the people. And when you finally comprehend that I'm a sovereign Oregonian, there are thousands and millions that are equal to me, but nobody is superior to me. And I don't take orders from anybody on anything.
I would like to point out, Ron, I'd like to point out here, these constitutions, the Oregon Constitution and the United States Constitutions, they're really just pointing at the fact that we already have the unalienable rights. They're not giving them to us. We already had them from the beginning, from the time we were born. They cannot give those rights to us. They cannot take them away. They were ours. They're just pointing them out.
I agree. It's a guarantee. Your unalienable rights come to you from your Creator, they come from God. That's where our rights come from. I personally believe that if you're an atheist, you only have 14th Amendment privileges. You don't have any rights because if you don't have a God, you don't have a creator. Therefore, nobody could have given you your unalienable rights because you weren't in line with the guy that was passing them out. You reject that. So then you go over to the line where it says U.S. citizens, 14th Amendment, and you can have all the privileges they want to give you. I'm tired of them giving me privileges. When we get further down the road with our grand jury, I want to find out how the hell come I can't get a passport as an Oregonian given to me by the State Department of the United States, which is one of their enumerated responsibilities, but they won't give it to me because the only passports they give out are to U.S. citizens. Well, I'm not a U.S. citizen. I'm an Oregonian. I could be an Oregonian citizen, I go Oregonian state national. I could be a man domiciled on Oregon. All of those are different. If you become a resident, then you accept U.S. citizenship. It's all word art.
It could be dual citizen, right?
Not
I
at
get
the
that
same
too.
time. Not at the same time. You got to switch from one side to the other. And as all power is inherent into the people, you can expatriate anytime you want. Anytime somebody says, I want to run for office and I want to be a senator, they expatriate from being an Oregonian to being a citizen that is employed by the state of Oregon or employed by the feds in the army. They've expatriated from this jurisdiction to that jurisdiction. This jurisdiction is the one I'm in now. When I filled out the papers to recall Pat Garrett, the sheriff of Washington County, who took his seat as Washington County sheriff. No, he was elected Washington County sheriff and took his seat as County of Washington sheriff. The corporation. The word art is just so mind boggling, you can't even believe it. I've been talking for a long time about grand jury and how we got here. I wish there was somebody around to ask me some questions. I don't know what more to say. If something comes to me in the next few seconds or so, then William will have to rescue me with a thought or something to jiggle my brain.
Well, this grand jury thing, we've gotten to this point where we've assembled the grand jury and we're getting ready to make a decision. This is just the beginning of this. We're doing this on Oregon as Oregonians, but the reality is that we need to bring this to all the counties in Oregon. We need to get a grand jury in every single county so that they can make decisions in their county.
Yeah, that's going to be a chore. I have
and it'll be up to those people in those counties to do it, right? I mean, we're just starting the ball rolling, and they're just going to have to grab it and see what we've done and replicate it there, and then they can make their own decisions for their county.
Agreed.
Not our job.
Agreed. Our court is Oregon statewide, our civilian court, and our grand jury is Oregon statewide, and our Article 3, Amendment 7 Court of Record will be Oregon statewide, but every county should and could have their own assembly, their own grand jury, and their own court. But it's got to be of the people. They can't abdicate the power and say, yeah, but I don't want to go do it. And I want somebody else to do it for me. Well, they're happy to do it for you. How do you like the way they're doing it now? They're taxation by citation. Everything you do, they have a rule or a law or an ordinance against, or a statute that implies they have power and authority over you. And then they go ahead and say, well, I'm going to set the speed limit so you will find out that we are really in control. You speed, I give you a ticket, you pay the fine, and we are in control. And as long as the people accept that, then that's who is in control. We've decided that that's not the way it's going to be for us. We've decided that we are the people and all power is inherent with us, and we are in charge. And we're doing it on Oregon through our assembly, through our grand jury, and we'll be doing it soon through our Seventh Amendment Court of Record. How other people are going to involve and do that, I don't really know. But our grand jury is not just a common law grand jury. The grand jury could find evidence that was in another law form, not just common law. Suppose they found evidence that was in the jurisdiction of admiralty. Well, then common law court's not going to deal with that. That's another jurisdiction. So we have to turn that over to the Attorney General or the District Attorney or the Department of Justice. That's their area. That's their jurisdiction. We deal with people, men and women, not corporate entities. So that's where the jurisdiction comes in. And the grand jury could find something in another jurisdiction needs to be attended to by another jurisdiction. So that would be a presentment we give to those that are authorized to take care of. How about voter fraud, election fraud? There's a couple of areas. How about misprision of felony? How about treason? Those are some areas that should be taken care of if it's in the jurisdiction of somebody other than common law. If it's common law and it's a person, pardon me, it's one of the people or a person that we determine is a live being, therefore one of the people acting in a capacity of a person, word art, then we have the jurisdiction over them on Oregon. They've all acquiesced to that. So if our grand jury finds something in any jurisdiction or law form, they make a presentment to the proper court, the proper people in that jurisdiction, which in some cases is us, and in some cases is the Department of Justice or district attorney or the attorney general. But that's the grand jury's decision to make. All power is inherent in the people, and they make that decision. Then they send that decision on to the proper jurisdiction and law form. In our case, it's Article 3, Amendment 7.
Looks like we're about out of time here, Ron. So we want everybody to continue to join our jury. We're not done. We need to keep spreading this out bigger and better to take care of these problems, and to like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. Just look us up, Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly. Go to our website, orsja.org, and Facebook. You can find us if you do a little search.
Thank you much for your work and effort getting this recorded for us, William. I'm out.
All right. Thank you.
They do not want to let go of this. They do not intend on losing here. And we do not intend giving it back to them.
And then the bullets started flying. And then he jumps out of the car. And he's got both his hands up.
And he got out of the car, and he had his hands in the air. He's like, just shoot me then. This is what you want, to shoot me. And they did. They shot him dead. With his hands in the air, and I saw it. I swear to God. He was just walking with his hands in the air. And they shot him. And they shot him dead, and then after he was down on the ground, they shot him 3 more times.